Eremos is more than a name. It's a way of life. It's our sanctuary, our escape from the noise, and our connection to the deeper meaning of our lives. It's about finding joy in the outdoors, seeking growth, and leaving the world a better place than we found it. Welcome to Elevate and Explore, a podcast where we dive into the beauty of nature, self-discovery, and the endless possibilities that come with living intentionally. Welcome to our journey. Hello, everybody. I'm Aaron Baker.
I'm Ryan Bailey.
And this is the Elevate and Explore podcast. Tonight we have our first guest, Crystal, with us. Hello, hello.
Hello, Aaron and Ryan. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. This is my first time meeting Crystal, and she's got a bunch of exciting stories. She's been to some beautiful places, and I'm certainly excited about the conversation.
Yes, me too. I'm excited to be here and share, whatever it is that wants to be shared and see how we can support and grow community. One of the things that we were just speaking about, which was the travel. I'd like to speak more into that because like what you were sharing with me just before we got on here was about creating the flexibility and all that. So I look forward to this connection.
Well, yeah, if you want to jump into your journey of, traveling, how you were in the corporate world and you kind of left that and you started traveling the world and going and seeing everything, kind of working for yourself, doing a little bit of consulting, where has that led you? Where have you been? What have you done? What inspired your want and drive to go and explore the world?
So that is an extensive question, but let's just dive in. I was in corporate America, working the 9-to-5 job, going to the office every day. And it just came to me, right? But it wasn't what my soul was really calling. And the money seemed to always get me back into it and keep me going into it. But I knew after probably about 10 years, but also doing it off and on because I would take breaks and I would go travel and I would save up all my money and then I'd go spend it all. And then I'd have to come back into that career, right, to make the money because it was all I knew, right? Just thinking, okay, get a job and, growing up and being raised in that mentality, do something that you're maybe not so happy about or, you're not that passionate about, but it's great money. And then I kept in that cycle for a while, but then something shifted in me and it was like, okay, no, there's more to this. You get to have your freedom and be financially independent and able to fund these type of traveling. So I manifested slowly this type of ability to go into consulting and to have my clients and things like that, which I have always been traveling my entire life, even though I was in the corporate world, but it became as I'm also simultaneously on this spiritual journey that we're all on in our own unique way. I was able to use and see the traveling as a tool to awaken and to support me on this spiritual journey, right? Because when we are able to step out of our comfort zone, when we're able to have that flexibility to move into the unknown, then it expands our minds, it expands our awareness, it expands from all different aspects. Like we were pushed into that unknown, which is that uncomfortable area, right? A lot of times we're just more comfortable with what we know, even though it may not be what we want or what we like, right?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of like where it really turned with for me is that, okay, I always enjoyed traveling, but now it became something like, well, traveling is the tool that I use as my awakening process. And that's what led me from going from 9 to 5 to full-time traveling. And at the same time, being fortunate, to create and manifest the lifestyle that I get to work and create the funds to sustain the travel.
That's amazing. I love it. That you talk a lot about spirituality. were you always a spiritual person, or did that come along, as life went on, or, talk about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So growing up, I would have to say I was very much in my ego, very
Hmm.
much. And um, something over the years that has humbled me is I'm a type 1 diabetic. And over the years, that has really brought me down to my knees. Just living, and not only living, but thriving with working with that on a daily basis has brought me to be a lot more humble, because it's a challenge, and even traveling with that is another level of challenge. It creates another level, which then I went into, okay, well, how do I give seeing as the disease as something that I was always against and having hatred towards or playing victim towards, to now, okay, well, how can I see it as my gift, as my ally? And then expanding that, okay, well, if I can travel and move and do all these kind of crazy things with it, how can I get to inspire others to do that? So that's another way I started to create with different types of social media, of creating that inspiration. Okay, well, how do I get to inspire others to who are type 1 diabetic, or mothers who are, or sisters who know someone, right? To show them that if I can do it, then they can too. And it just became something that really touched my heart. But then I also, have opened it up to now I don't see it as just people with diabetes. I see it like as everyone. How can you get to use traveling as a way to expand your consciousness? And that's where I'm at now.
There's a great quote. I can't remember where it came from, but I have it posted everywhere now, that you should not climb mountains for you to see the world, but for the world to see, but so you can see the world. And being able to go out and see something new, just the awe-inspiring feeling that comes from it drives me every single day, and it's truly relatable.
Yeah,
And I think,
it's beautiful.
being able to go out and see things, and if you are in that victim mindset, whether it be disease or illness or just bad poor mentality, of going out and seeing things from a different perspective really is a really good way to shift that.
Yes, exactly. And it stimulates us, right? We get into this routine, which, don't get me wrong, I enjoy routine as well, but we sometimes tend to get into this routine, and you kind of are so caught up in the details that you don't get to see the bigger picture. And like you were saying, you go to the mountain to see, like, okay, now I get to see. And that's what I feel that traveling has done for me, is I get to see at a different level and to stimulate myself, to open my awareness and to open my consciousness, and pushing myself to that limit, right? Like that uncomfortable limit where we a lot of people tend to resist and push it away. But I have found that I thrive best when I lean into it, and I just go to the edge and go a little further. Okay, well, how much more can I go? And that has been able to push and my boundaries, expand my awareness and consciousness. So I find that as, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I've a lot of those uncomfortable moments that we experience, it's the defining moment of what happens next. Is if we embrace it, it's usually really good things, and sometimes that resistance can put us right back where we started.
Right. And it's also, it creates fear, right? But if you allow that fear to radiate, then you attract it right back. And so it's okay, well, how do I remain calm and not um project that fear out? Because whenever I remain calm and maybe what may look like a threatened or dangerous situation, I know that I'm always divinely guided and I'm protected. And then it doesn't come back to me. no matter where I'm at. If I'm walking, in the streets alone in Colombia, or in the middle of Mexico in the nighttime down an alley, or in India alone, crazy places that people would be like, why would you go there alone as a woman, right? In a foreign place. And I'm like, but I know I'm okay because I don't radiate the fear. So if I don't radiate, then and again, this is not saying that nothing bad can happen, right? This is not saying that to not watch out, because not be prudent, right? That's another thing, right? You get to be prudent, and you feel in your intuition where is right and where is not. If at any moment I didn't feel comfortable or there was something in me, then yeah, no, I would not walk down there alone, right? But I'm internally guided. And as we get into these experiences, we get to develop this inner compass that allows us to know when you can push the limit and when it's to be able to pull back. And I think that's even finding the balance, like when to push the limit and then when to say, okay, no, in everything in life, right? In our bodies. Okay, well, when is it to push and just, go through it? And then when is it to be gentle and rest and find that space? So that's like the balance of life, the flow.
Amazing.
I think that's a great topic, and we talked about it last week too. For anybody who listened to last week's, was talking about, a workload, for example, that sometimes you can push through and you can get it all done, but it comes to a burnout period, and without that flow of back and forth and knowing, when to settle down and when to really bore through it. I think that takes some time to figure out, and every person's situation is going to be different. But you had made a great comment about, as you started wanting more, you manifested something. So you had some belief in something that you really wanted to push for. Can you add a little bit more context on your process of how you manifested something?
So it's something that I became more aware of as I mature in age and time passes, right? But then when I look back, it seems like it was something that I was doing all along, just not as conscious of it, because we're all manifesting, right? Every single moment we're manifesting. The difference is, are you aware of it or not, right? Are you conscious that you're manifesting and of what you're manifesting, or are you not, right? And a lot of it is with our frequencies and our vibrations and our thought processes and our feelings. Now, on this journey, I have read many books, listened to many masters, gurus, teachers, attended many workshops, and have become more and more aware of the process that manifestation is, right? Whatever you want to call the law of attraction, or what is even missing in the law of attraction. Like, why can't everyone just manifest the life that they want by just following the law of attraction? Well, there's a lot of key elements that people tend to leave out, and I'm not a master in this. I will never claim that I'm a guru in this, right? But I have learned over years of experience, and then recognizing, okay, well, when am I conscious of it and when am I unconscious of it? Because every single moment, every single thought, every single frequency that we emit is manifesting the next moment, is manifesting our future. So then once one becomes more aware of, first of all, the key question in everything, and what 98% of the population don't have, or they don't even know that they don't know, is knowing what you want.
Yes.
Knowing what you want, like being very clear on what is it that you want. When we get broad, okay, what do I want? I want health, great. I want love. I want a relationship. I want money. I want abundance, right? And that's great. That's a starting point. But if you don't get clear on what does that look like for you, right, then it's not going to manifest, or it could manifest a little bit. But the more clear and precise that you can state or declare what it is that you want first and foremost, then that will just amplify and accelerate your manifestation, right? The other key element to it is that once you do have clarity on what you want, then it's about embodying it and embodying the feeling that it's already done. That is, and it's one of the most challenging things that us as humans and myself have, because we are very much guided by our senses. So we see, taste, touch, feel, smell, and hear, and that is what is in our present moment. But if we don't have those senses completed, then we think, oh, well, then it's not here. Then it hasn't happened. And that's where the disconnect comes. Because once you get into that doubt, or that, like, oh, well, I can't see it, so it hasn't happened, then you're breaking yourself from the manifestation coming into your reality. So yes, okay, so we get clarity on what we want, and then we already embodied it, that we have it right now. And that can be one of the most challenging things that myself and perhaps other people have, right? But it's once you get into that state that it's already done, then the stars align, then things move magically, then the flow, you're in that flow, right? Then the unfolding comes. And it's challenging. It's challenging to practice this and put it into your everyday life. One of the, again, we are beings that are so, we are so distracted, right? We're in this life where we have distractions. We have our cell phones, we have, our work, we have a relationship, we have our responsibilities, families. But one thing that has been key for me is meditation, the
Okay.
practice of meditation. Because when one meditates, you go inward, and the external world is full of shiny objects, distractions, this, that. But when you go inward, you silence that. And then when you get to go inward and you start to feel that whatever it is that you declared that you want is actually happening to you in the present moment, that is where you get in alignment and things can manifest. Now, there is a teacher that I follow. His name is Neville Goddard. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but
No.
he speaks very much into the power of imagination, right? And your imagination, he speaks, your imagination is God. Although I would even take it further. And again, I don't want this to be like controversial, but God is everything, in my opinion, right? And God, the universe, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it, it is everything. So when you say your imagination is God, well, yeah, this computer is God, right? Everything is God, because everything encompasses one, right? And so all of this is the divine. So Neville Goddard states that your imagination is God because it can create anything that you want. And that's part of it, is like using your imagination to really feel and embody and vision what it is that you want to be manifested.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I encourage anyone who wants to dive deeper into that to, look into his work, because it's very powerful. And yeah, I hope that can guide.
Yeah, I absolutely love your, the idea of believing you already have something. I came across that idea probably 6 months ago. So something I do every night, I lay in bed and I say what I'm thankful for at the moment. But then also at the same time, I picture where I want to be, what I want to have in 5 years. It's not super specific, but it's the more I do it, the more specific it gets. And I have that picture, and I know I already have it because I'm currently doing what I need to do right now to make that happen. And since I started thinking like that, it's made doing the daily mundane tasks, doing what I need to do so much easier, because I know I'm doing what I need to do because I already have that in the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
One of the
does.
one of the things you made mention too of, everything is God because it's an imagination, but I think it comes into, being a towards the good type thought that As long as you're believing in good things that bless other people and is good for everyone around you, then it's a lot easier to manifest. But if we start manifesting evil or selfish thoughts, we can very quickly put ourselves in a pickle. I think a really good example of this that I've experienced was, driving my truck. I bought a nice truck and I got a dent in the side of it. And it's just like one of those things that you just start swearing and cursing for no reason. And I sat in the driveway one day and I looked at my truck and I realized that probably sometime many years ago, early on in my life, I drew a picture of a big white truck with tires and a bumper. And I realized that I manifested my dream truck and I'm driving my dream truck. And I will tell you that there is not anything that you could do to that truck now that I would curse or swear over, because I got everything I asked for. I should be humbled. And, I think that, goes deeper into drawing a picture, painting a picture, put a vision board together on your computer of just clips and screenshots of Instagram pictures you like. I think one thing I can share some light on is imagining your partner, the partner that you want to be with someday. What does it look like? She, he, whatever, height. Give some features and be clear about it, and say that if you want something, you don't have a chance to take your words back. And I think we were on a fishing trip one time, and I said, Aaron, what do you want to catch? And he said, I'm happy with anything. And I said, I'm happy with anything. And Aaron caught the big fish and I didn't catch anything. So it's that being clear on what you want is absolutely a huge part of I think, a spiritual journey, a business journey, self-improvement journey. I think that's a really good topic and a really good point you brought up, Crystal.
And also, I'd like to add to that, like, anything is, I don't see a distinction between good and bad, right? For me, the good is good, the bad is bad. Yes, if this whole manifestation technique will not function if it's not for the good of all, right? But at the same time, right, we can have whatever we want. Like, it is limitless, right? So even if you want a beautiful white truck or a yellow Ferrari or a massive yacht, or if you want, anything, you can have it. What gets in the way is our attachment to it, right? And for example, your white truck that you wanted manifested, but then the second it got dented or scratched, you felt pain, right? You felt like an inner unease. Now, it has nothing to do with your manifestation, because you can manifest whatever you want. It's our attachment to it that creates the suffering. So once we're able to recognize that we can play in any realm that we want, we can, like, manifesting your ideal partner, or manifesting your, a mansion, or manifesting, a beautiful tent on the mountain, right? You get to do whatever you want, but the key is being aware of your attachment to it. Because what many people, people can manifest in two different ways. You can either put force and effort, or you can effortlessly allow it to come. So as we see in our society and in our world, people make millions and billions of money, and they could be the most unhappy people there are, because yes, they created it, right? But they put effort and force and push, and they drove themselves because it was so stressful, and all that. Or you can manifest from a place of knowing, and effortlessly it comes to you with ease and grace, right? Now, two people have the same thing. Let's say they have the same, beautiful wife or beautiful husband and great big house, or whatever it is that you desire. Everybody's desire is different. But now one person gets a scratch on their Ferrari, and the other person gets a scratch on their Ferrari. And the one of them who manifested with force and effort and brutal, maybe even I don't even know the word, ugliness, like putting people down and stepping on over people, and taking money and all that. You know, how do they view their manifestation? What's the relationship to it? Now, if one is like, oh, it's just a thing, it's okay. They're not attached to it. They don't feel any inner resistance when something happens to it. But if another one has manifested, potentially with the brutal force and making it happen, they're attached to it because they identify with it. Why are there so many multi-million billionaires that are not happy? Because they are identifying with the material world. They have manifested it, yes, but that's the disconnect, and that's where we get to see, well, okay, even when we have created our manifestation or whatever we have, right? It doesn't have to be something big. It can be just my phone, right? Like if my phone was to get shattered, would I have pain for it? Am I that attached to it? Or can I just accept it as what it is, being neutral? It's not that I have to be happy either, but can I hold in a state of equanimity, being equanimous to whatever is? That's the disconnect that we have humans. Okay, well, how is your relationship to whatever is in your current reality and whatever it is that you do manifest?
Yeah, I think that's, you had made a great comment on, not seeing good or bad. And whether you just manifest it, or if you just go on a trip somewhere and you manifest as business, or you go on a trip somewhere and you realize this is everything that you wanted, but something bad happens. Are you going to be off put by it, or are you just going to be accepting you made it to where your destination was, and realize that bad side of it, or that inconvenient side of it, was just, that's part of it. That's part of getting to where you wanted to go. So, I think we've faced struggles in life, and we've faced things that may have not been exactly what we wanted, but the blessing came out of it, that was what we needed to get to where we wanted to be.
And also recognizing that right where we are right now is exactly where we want to be, because, and this is like making that disconnect, because it's already done.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is, it's finding peace with where you are right now in the present moment, like letting go of
Yes.
any resistance. And I'm in this right now, I'm in this work right now, in this current moment. It's like letting go of any resistance that I have to this moment. If one of the things that I tend to ask myself, if nothing was ever to change, if I didn't get my manifestations, if I didn't get my desires, if I didn't, accomplish this or have this goal come true or that, if nothing was ever to change, in this current moment, can I be happy for the rest of my life?
Mm-hmm.
That's the key, is finding and making peace with where you are right now.
Absolutely. That's huge. I always used to live in, it's living in the present, living in the now, loving the now, loving yourself, who you are now, where you're at. I always used to focus on, I'm not where I want to be yet. Just so focused on what I don't have and forgetting about everything. Like I have an amazing life right now. Like you said, nothing could change at this point in my life, and I could be happy forever.
Mm.
You just got to be, find and get yourself to a spot where you're just internally happy. I think that's the most important thing. Forget about all of the, the Ferraris, the yachts. None of that matters if you're not happy with yourself internally. I think that's the
Exactly.
most important thing that everybody needs to find is inner peace.
Right. And that's, it's so easy to get caught up because we're in this dual world. We're in duality, right? And we see separation within everything. So we have the external world, and then we think that it's separate from ourselves. And in that separation, it's like, but it's not. The truth is that there's only union, there's only oneness, right? And this goes very deep. this goes into a whole nother level of what we're speaking into. But yeah, it's just making peace with the present moment in every moment, because then the next moment may come and then we feel a little resistance, like, oh, well, I haven't achieved that goal yet. And well, I'll be happy when, right?
Yep,
that
exactly.
famous, I'll be happy when, I'll take that trip when I have X amount of money in my bank account. I will be satisfied and at peace when I have the perfect partner. I will be feeling a lot of, like, okay, so if we go into the topic of like loneliness, right? Are you like, I will feel whole and complete when that person comes into my life. And that's the reverse. It's we get to cultivate within ourselves and go inward, because there's absolutely nothing external that will ever create that state and that level of awareness if you don't work on it inside.
We're always
And
constantly, excuse me, always constantly expecting an outcome, that something to happen in order for me to feel or to do something, right? It's, when
right,
January 1st comes around, I'll go to the gym. It's, when so and so does this for me, I'll give this to them, and expecting something to come back in return is, it's not a great way
exactly.
to live. And always constantly having an expectation, because you're just so caught up in the moment that you're just waiting for something to happen, or waiting for something to come back without you doing anything.
Right.
um,
And this is learned behavior, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
This is like learned through whatever, your family upbringing, your society, your culture. This is learned behavior. So the journey home, the journey back to truth is a journey of unlearning. It's a journey of unlearning everything that you learned. It's a journey of peeling off the layers and layers and layers of the onion to get to the diamond inside, or like the mud on the diamond, right? It's like washing it off, washing it off. And as you wash off, a little hole comes in, a light rays through, but yet you still got more to go. And it's an undoing process. And depending on also, where you were, where your soul is at in this journey, because we're all in this journey, and it's not something that's happened before, it's not something new, this has all happened before, right? Is how much mud do you have, how many layers of mud do you have on there, right? So again, yeah, it's just this undoing, it's this undoing of everything that we think that we know, and getting to this place of, I know that I don't know.
Yes.
That's where the magic happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
very
think.
difficult unlearning a way you've lived your entire life and digging away those layers and finding you and finding the best version of yourself. I went through it. It's so freaking difficult, but I think it's the most rewarding thing anybody can do is to find yourself and fully love yourself.
And the funny thing is that there's absolutely nothing that I mean, and I know you're using these words because we're in a language, right? And we got to express it. But then, there's absolutely nothing to find. It's always there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so much as just wiping off a diamond. It's like growing a tree. I mean, you just have to cater to this thing until its end, and there is an infinite amount of possibilities that can come if you just take care of it the right way.
Yeah. And part of my process of traveling, and I think why I traveled so much, was because I was looking for myself. And I would always be like, okay, well, I'm not comfortable here. I'm going to run away, and I'm going to go travel to there. And then everywhere I went, I was always still there. So it wasn't about finding or like looking or running away from myself or looking to find myself or even to find my purpose. That was a huge thing for me. Like, okay, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go see if this guru can tell me my purpose. I'm going to see if this, spiritual leader can validate my purpose. And I was searching all over the world for my purpose. And then at some point I recognized that I and this has actually happened within the last couple months, like very vividly, very strongly, is that I didn't trust myself that I know my purpose. And it might sound mundane, but like I didn't trust me that I'm the one who knows my purpose. And I don't need to get validation from someone that of what my purpose is, but I get to trust myself enough, or trust myself fully, that I am it. It's here.
Yeah.
And no longer do I need to go and pay astrologers, or, go and, get a tarot card reading, or, I don't do that too much, but you know what I mean? Or, go to this guru or go to this workshop. It's like, it's all here. I just get to trust myself. That's where I had a big shift within the last couple of months.
Now,
And
that
then,
inner belief,
mhm.
that inner belief is just, it's everything. And to stumble on an entire life without it, the moment you start seeing it, it's just absolutely addicting to keep pursuing it. See
Right.
what
And
else can come of it.
I get to tie this back around to having type 1 diabetes, because after I went into there, I went deeper into it. Okay, well, why do I not trust myself? Like I asked spirit, okay, well, show me, why do I not trust myself? And it got revealed to me that I don't trust my body. How can I trust my body if my body can't even survive on its own? If I don't take my insulin, check my sugar every single, there's so much things that goes on. If I don't eat the right foods, exercise at this time, if I don't do this, if I don't do that, I'll die. I mean, then I validate my own self. Okay, well, who wouldn't fight with me? How can you trust your body if that is what your body is presenting you with? Right. And so that even brought up a lot more into that aspect. And then I slowly, I'm still in the process, but then I slowly started working on, okay, so where can I trust my body? Okay, I can trust my body that my heart beats. I can trust my body that it digests my food. I get to trust my body that, the immune system works. And so then now I'm right in the process, right? Like with many probably of the people watching out there, it's not like you get to a destination where you're done and you're like, okay, that's it. I have no more work. It's the journey. And I'm in it with you, Ryan, with you, Aaron. We're still in it in our own unique ways, right? And it's just, okay, well, here's the journey. Let's just keep going. Let's keep ascending. Let's keep moving up.
It's great stuff.
Yeah,
On
absolutely.
your journeys and your travels, where is what's your most interesting story? What's the most interesting place you've been? Let's do a two-part question.
That's a challenging question, but I would have to say that one of the most impactful trips of my life was hiking to base camp in Mount Everest.
Yeah, I had a coworker that lived out there, and the stories that he would tell, I just had it on my bucket list, and that's one place that I look forward to someday.
Yes.
Yes, it's absolutely incredible, but it had so many aspects to it that the company I was with, the interaction of that relationship, the challenges I faced with doing it with type 1 diabetes. Like I had you have your backpack and it's your whole life on your back, right? And then mine had to be like a good chunk of it, like maybe 1/3 of it was all diabetes supplies. And then it was a backup, all my supplies, my test strips, the Omnipods, the inserts, the insulin, the needles, the da 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 da. So it was like, okay, well, how do I pack my life? Now I'm getting, my life is shrunk to this much compared to someone who doesn't have diabetes, which is like this much. So it's even balancing out that, and that was a big challenge. And then how to manage that within the altitude, within the challenges, right, that brought every day. It's a whole nother level of mind blowing like And then your body too, because it affects your body and your sugar levels, and they go up and down, and the cold weather and this and that. So I think it took me the entire trip to finally get regulated. And then when I was done, I was regulated. Okay, done. Yeah. Because it's not, it just doesn't happen overnight. You got to learn a whole new
Sure.
way of being. And that's why I love to share with people who have type 1 diabetes that, look, if I can do it, you can do it. A lot of people tend not to even go there because they're like, oh no, what happens if I go out of my routine? Oh no, like that's a whole nother level of trying to learn your body and work with it to just be healthy. I mean, that's just to live. Not in talking about all the other things that hiking Mount Everest or base camp Mount Everest brings with it, right? Let's say I didn't have diabetes. That's a whole nother set. So it's like bringing the two together, right? Yeah, and that's the, I think, because it was the challenge, it was also one of the biggest growths. Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be
Yeah.
respectful of your time. I just have one more question. Or go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna say I have one more question.
Yeah.
You go.
You can go first there.
Okay. What's something, one piece of advice that, you've come up with yourself or somebody's given you along the way that has, really changed your daily routine, your daily outlook on life?
One of the turning points of my spiritual journey was when I attended a 10-day Vipassana retreat.
Okay.
And that consisted of, it's a silent retreat. So it consisted of no talking, no writing, no exercise, no listening to music, no phone, no interaction with anything external for 10 days. And I did it in Sri Lanka. And it was basically 12 to 14 hours of meditation every single day, just sitting on the cushion and meditating. No matter what came up, just being with yourself, being with the sensations, being with the pain, the anger, the frustration, the joy, the ecstasy, the whatever arose. And with that, I learned the discipline of meditating and sitting for long periods of time. And again, I don't know if you consider this long, everybody's different, but I have incorporated a discipline of meditating for 1 hour a day.
Okay.
With not guided, just being in the present moment, using my breath, right? Because the breath is our most precious tool that's with us. It's free. You don't have to pay. You don't have to go anyplace else. You don't have to look outside of yourself. It's with you to guide you to be here in this moment. So one of the things that I would love to invite every being is to create that sacred time, create that discipline of going inward. Because everything that we spoke about here, manifestation, all that, it's that inner state. And the more you get to become familiar, the more you get to observe and become aware of that, of when you're there compared to when you're not, the more you can create the life that you want. So that would be my guidance, the wisdom that I'd like to share with anyone. It has changed my life. Is meditation.
Amazing. Okay. I've always been interested in it, and something I always thought was a very amazing tool. So I'm gonna have to dive into that a little bit.
And it's not easy, don't get me wrong. And there's a lot of people that come to me that they say, oh, Crystal, I have ADD, I can't do it, my mind is racing, I can't do it. I'm like thinking, okay, then
That's me.
you just get to, then it's going to be even more powerful for you. That's it. And if you can't, I also do business coaching, and part of my business coaching has this foundation of self-development and spirituality. And every Monday morning in my board meetings, everybody sits down and meditates for 5 minutes. And, you know, even the CEO, he's like, well, I just have thoughts and I get so frustrated and all I'm thinking about is when is this meditation going to end? And I'm like thinking, okay, well, observe it. Just be with yourself. Observe the frustration. Separate yourself from it. Observe your thoughts. Observe whatever arises. Do not judge. Just allow it. Remain equanimous. No craving, no aversion. Just remain with yourself with whatever comes up. There is no right or wrong to meditation, right? There is absolutely no right or wrong. Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? It's just even observe that question that arises. Like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Just let it be and separate yourself. Find this very, this pause. It's like when we inhale. On an inhale, we have this slight pause before we exhale. On the exhale, we have this slight pause before we inhale. That's the space. That's the space of the juicy spot where you get to reside. It's like when you have these thoughts, just be in that space in between you and the thought, because you are not your thoughts. And a lot of people, we hear that, okay, you're not your thoughts, you're not your body, you're not your feelings, you're not your emotions, but then who are you? And there's this small little space in between that answer that you get to reside. And that's the same space that's in between the pauses of your inhale right before you exhale.
I'm going to try it.
Amazing.
So I
Ryan,
encourage you, just to get into that space, just observing whatever arises without judgment.
That's tough. I'm going to figure it out.
And like we always say with everything, it comes over time. Like you go to the gym. Why do you go to the gym?
Yeah.
To strengthen your muscles, to make yourself fit, right? Why do you do that? Now, this is the same thing. Why do you meditate every day? It's just to slowly develop that part.
Working the mind.
Yeah, and even
soul.
it's even beyond mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond mind because the mind itself is just another tool.
I love it.
That work that brain.
Yes, hold on 1 second because I just realized that my computer is gonna die.
Oh no.
Yeah, it just hit the, so I can finish.
Well, real quick, if anybody wants to follow Crystal, you can find her on Instagram. She's got two. One is OM Travel X, and the other one is Life Travel Passion. Sure, she'd love to see you guys look her up.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Did I just kind of like shut that off? Okay. Well, actually, is it okay if I just keep it? Okay. Because now I don't know. Sorry, guys. I apologize. I just didn't want it to shut off.
No, you're perfectly all right.
Yeah. So, no, I appreciate that. Yes, the Om Travel X is a page that I created to inspire people to travel, and yet I seem to be a little bit more active on my life travel passion. I'm in that game of, okay, well, what do I do with social media,
Sure.
So yes, but I would love to connect with whoever wants to reach out. Feel free. I'm here to serve. How can I be of service and help in any way? Yeah.
It's greatly appreciated. It's a beautiful page, bunch of cool scenery. And we definitely want to connect again in the future. I think there's a part two that we should have, because I think there's a lot of great
I
topics that you talked about. And I really enjoyed the conversation, Crystal. Thank you.
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely. I was gonna go ahead.
I'm just so grateful to be on here and to be able to share. This is part of my purpose, right? I also feel that we could go deeper, but we also have to be mindful. We get to be mindful at the time, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, any other time, thank you for having me. I'm blessed to be here, and it's been amazing talking with you, Aaron, seeing you again, and Ryan, very
Yes.
nice to meet you. And
Absolutely.
I love what you guys are creating and putting out in the world. I mean, I'm just so ecstatic because when I met Aaron, he was like, oh, he does this and this and this. But then when he talked about the podcast, he like lit up. And I was like, now that I want to learn more about.
Yeah. It was a 150-degree shift from where he was, previously. Like, it was one day we were just talking, and then the next day he's like, "I want to start we want to start a podcast." And I was like, "All right, well, let's do it slow and get our bearings on it." And then he's like, "Nope, I already got it all figured out." I was like, "All right, that's what we're doing."
Amazing. Following the
Yeah,
inner calling.
Yes. Yes. That's a big part of life, is just finding something you enjoy and just chasing after it. But yes, we
Exactly.
will definitely get together for an episode 2, because there's so much more we could dive into. But thank you so much for your time. And it's Crystal Kazemfar, right? I chopped it the first time. Did I get it right the second time?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Crystal Kazemfar. Awesome.
Exactly. Yes.
All right, Crystal. Well, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate all your insight, and we look forward to talking to you again.
No, thank you both for shining your light.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. You have a great night. Safe travels.
You too. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks.